The honest truth about making money online is that the majority of people who try to make money online will never make a single dollar. Not because the opportunity isn't real, not because they aren't smart enough, and not because they got unlucky. It's because of a handful of very specific, very predictable mistakes that almost everyone makes, and almost nobody talks about honestly. And once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. And that awareness alone puts you ahead of probably 90% of the people who are going to try this and fail. People tend to not learn from their mistakes and continue to repeat them, then wonder why they are not succeeding. So let's get into it. If you're new here, welcome. This channel is about making money online without the hype and without the nonsense. Hit subscribe if that's what you're looking for. Now let's talk about why most people fail at this. Starting with the biggest one, which is shiny object syndrome. Okay, so picture this. You decide you're going to start dropshipping. You watch 12 tutorials, you pick a niche, you set up a Shopify store, you run it for 3 weeks, you get no sales, you start to wonder if dropshipping is even worth it anymore. Then you see a YouTube video about print on demand. And suddenly print on demand looks way more promising than dropshipping ever did. So you pivot, you spend 2 weeks learning print on demand, you set up a store on Etsy, still no sales. Then someone in a Facebook group mentions that freelancing is where the real money is. And now you're watching videos about freelancing. Sound familiar? This is called shiny object syndrome, and it is the single biggest reason people never make a dollar online. Because every new method you discover looks more appealing than the one you're currently struggling with. That's just how it works. The grass is always greener on the other side of the funnel. And here's what makes it so dangerous. It feels productive. Watching tutorials feels like work. Taking notes feels like progress. Switching to a new method feels like a strategic decision. But none of it is moving the needle, because you never stay in one place long enough to actually get traction. Real results in any online income method come from repetition, refinement, and time. And you can't get any of those things if you're starting over every 3 weeks. The fix is simple, but uncomfortable. Pick one thing, give it a real timeline. Not 30 days, not even 60. Commit to 6 months minimum before you even entertain the idea of switching. Most methods don't start showing real results until you've been doing them consistently for a few months. If you bail before that, you'll never know if it would have worked. And the truth is, it is hard to stay in the same path when you're not seeing any results. You get discouraged, demotivated, and you start to question why you even started this in the first place. The way to overcome that is to completely emotionally detach from the work you're doing. Ask yourself this: if you knew 100% that you were going to achieve what you wanted to achieve with whatever you're doing, would you stress at all? Would you think about quitting or going to do something else? Probably not. Of course, you don't know whether you'll succeed or not. But the point is that if you are able to take all the emotions out of the process and just focus on the inputs, the commitment gets easier, and you will actually be able to stick to something for a long enough time period required to see any results. Here's the second reason. And this one's a little harder to hear. Most people don't approach online income like a business. They approach it like a lottery ticket. Put in a little effort, hope for a big return, and if it doesn't pay out quickly, crumple it up and try a different ticket. And I think a big part of the blame here goes to the word passive. Passive income is one of the most seductive phrases in this entire space. And it's also one of the most misleading. Because here's the truth about passive income that nobody puts in their thumbnail. Nothing starts passive. Everything that eventually becomes passive was first the result of a ridiculous amount of active work. The person making money in their sleep from a course they sold. They spent months building that course, building an audience, learning how to market it, and probably failing multiple times before it worked. The passive part came later, much later. But what you see on YouTube is the highlight reel. You see the screenshot of the striped dashboard. You see the "I made $10,000 last month while traveling" thumbnail. You don't see the 18 months of grinding that happened before that screenshot existed. That's called survivorship bias. You're only seeing the people who made it, the thousands of people who had the exact same plan and quit at month 2. They're not making videos about it. So the mindset shift here is this: stop measuring your success by how much money came in this week. Especially early on, that number is going to be 0. And that's normal. Start measuring whether you showed up and did the work. Start analyzing your mistakes and focus on getting better. That's the only metric that matters in the beginning, because the results are just a delayed reflection of the inputs. Alright, this next one is probably the most important thing in this entire video, so stay with me here. There is a specific point in every online income journey where almost everyone quits. And it's not at the beginning when things are new and exciting. And it's not after they've been going for a year and things still aren't working. It's somewhere in the middle, usually between 3 to 6 months. It's the point where the initial motivation has completely worn off, but the results haven't shown up yet. And when you're in that place, it doesn't feel like a phase. It feels like a verdict. It feels like the universe is telling you, this isn't for you. You start to rationalize it. Maybe I picked the wrong niche. Maybe this method is oversaturated. Maybe I just don't have what it takes. But here's the thing. That feeling is not a signal. It's a pattern. It happens to almost everyone, including the people who eventually succeed. The only difference is that the people who succeed recognize it for what it is and keep going anyway. Think about the gym in January. Packed. Everyone's motivated. Everyone's got a new goal. Everyone's showing up. Then February hits. Then March. And suddenly the place is empty again. Did working out stop being effective in February? No. People just hit that window where motivation was gone, and results hadn't fully kicked in yet. And they took that as a sign to quit. Online income is the exact same curve. So here's what I want you to do with this information. Decide right now, before you hit that wall, that the feeling of wanting to quit doesn't mean anything. It's not a signal to stop. It's a rite of passage. It means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The people who understand that are the ones who make it through to the other side. Now let's talk about something that's a little ironic given that you're currently watching a YouTube video right now. There is a point, and I want you to honestly ask yourself if you've hit it, where more research is just procrastination in a productivity costume. And this space is uniquely good at keeping you stuck in that loop, because there is an infinite supply of content about how to make money online. You could spend 6 months doing nothing but watching tutorials, reading Reddit threads, and taking notes in Notion, and feel incredibly productive the entire time. But consuming information is not the same as applying it. The uncomfortable truth is that the person with an imperfect offer that they're actively putting in front of people will always out-earn the person with a perfect plan that they haven't launched yet. Execution beats preparation every single time. And I get why people stay in research mode. It feels safe. As long as you're still learning, you haven't technically failed yet. Starting means you might fail, and that's a scary thing to risk. People really don't want to fail, but they don't realize that learning comes from action. It comes from the process, not from consuming hours of YouTube videos, but not taking any action. But here's the reframe. Every day you spend in research mode instead of action mode is a day you're adding to your timeline. You cannot think your way to results in this space. You have to act your way there. Set yourself a rule. For every hour you spend watching or reading about making money online, spend 2 hours actually doing something. Writing, creating, reaching out, publishing. Whatever your method requires, do it. Okay, so we've talked about the behaviors. Now let's talk about expectations, because this one quietly kills more people than almost anything else. Ask yourself honestly, when you started or when you're thinking about starting, what timeline did you have in your head? 30 days, 60 days, and what were you expecting to see by then? Because most people go into this with a window that is wildly unrealistic for any legitimate method. And it's not their fault. The YouTube thumbnails show, I made $10,000 in my first month. The ads promise results in 30 days or your money back. The whole ecosystem is built around making fast results seem normal. They're not. First of all, most of those claims are technically true and completely misleading at the same time. I made $10,000 in my first month. Sure, but maybe that was month 1 of selling, after spending 8 months building an audience. The clock started in a very convenient place. And then there's the comparison trap. You see someone posting about their results online, and you start measuring your week 1 against their month 18. That's not a fair comparison. It's a recipe for feeling like a failure when you're actually completely on track. Here's the mindset shift. Stop attaching a timeline to your belief that this is going to work. Commit to the method, but release the deadline. Because when you give yourself 30 days and day 31 comes with no results, the story you tell yourself is this doesn't work. When in reality, you just needed to be on day 90 or day 120. This doesn't mean you should keep grinding for 5 years even if you don't see results. It doesn't take 5 or 10 years to get rich anymore, but it also doesn't take 2 weeks or even a month. Your whole life can change within a year, but you must give things a genuine fair shot to succeed and just see what happens. All right, last one. And this kind of ties everything together. The people who make real sustainable money online, not a one-time fluke, but actual consistent income, They all share one thing in common. They think like business owners, not like people trying to find a shortcut. And the difference in practice looks like this. A business owner tracks their numbers. They know what's working and what isn't. They show up consistently even when they don't feel like it. They think about where they want to be in 6 months, and they make decisions today based on that. They reinvest their time and energy into what's showing results. A lottery ticket buyer just keeps trying new tickets. Now, I'm not saying you need to quit your job or go all in financially. That's not the point. The point is the mental posture. Are you treating this like something that is going to work? And it's just a matter of figuring out how. Or are you treating it like an experiment that you'll abandon if it doesn't prove itself fast enough? Because here's the honest reality. Making money online is not a hack. People advertise it as some money glitch and a crack in the matrix. But it's not. It's not a trick. At its core, it's just building something that provides value to people in some sort of way. And getting paid for it. That takes time. It takes consistency. And it takes the willingness to keep going when it feels like nothing is happening. The people who figure that out are the ones who make it. The people who don't, they'll continue telling people that it's all a scam. So let's bring this all together. The reason most people never make $1 online isn't that the opportunity isn't real. It isn't that they're not smart enough. It's that they fall into these patterns, jumping between methods, expecting fast results, consuming instead of creating, quitting right before things would have turned around, and never quite committing to it like something they actually believe in. None of those are permanent. All of them are fixable. But you have to be honest enough with yourself to recognize which ones apply to you. And if even one thing in this video hit different, if you caught yourself thinking, okay, that's literally me, that's actually a really good sign. Because most people watch content like this and think it applies to everyone but them. The fact that you're self-aware enough to recognize the pattern means you're already closer than you think. And now, I want to hear from you in the comments. Which one of these hit closest to home? Drop it below. Genuinely curious. I would love to offer some advice because these things are all things that I went through myself. If this is the kind of honest, no fluff content you've been looking for, subscribe, because this is what this channel is about. No Lamborghinis, no fake income screenshots, just real talk about what actually works and what gets in the way. And I'll see you in the next one.